All the way down. Suck them up.
Okay.
Where are you putting that?
I was going to put in that thing over there. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Can you see that if somebody chats?
Sure.
If our one viewer chats, it's too far away. We're just going to ignore them.
I'll try.
Just ignore them.
I'll try and keep an eye on it. All right. Okay. We ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Welcome to episode 5 of the Paincave podcast. I am Mike Thomas, as always, joined by Preston Sechting and Justin Holland. So we got a lot to talk about today. Something pretty significant happened last weekend, the Rogue Invitational. Lots of cool events, some events that were kind of lame, lots of surprises that came from some of the athletes over the weekend. So we'll dive into that just a little bit later. But first, since this is the Paincave podcast, we always talk about one workout from the week, or maybe strength one day, or accessory from one day, or just something that stood out to us for good or for bad from the week. And if you're wanting to follow along with the Paincave, at Paincave Program on Instagram is where you can find that. So either one of you guys want to kick us off, or I can kick us off.
Sure, Mike, you can kick us off since
Sure.
you've only done one workout this week.
That is true. I've been traveling this week. Okay. I mean, we work for the same company. You just don't have to travel. But yeah, I was in Atlanta this week, so I got lots of running in, but not much CrossFit.
How was Atlanta?
It's Atlanta, so it's all right.
No, I haven't been to Atlanta in 9 years.
It's it's a lot of buildings and not a lot of greenery.
Is it actually in the city?
Oh yeah, it's in the middle of the city.
Did you go to a CrossFit gym while you were there?
No, there was no time to. Unfortunately, we were there at the facility from very early to very late. So, waking up very early to run, and also running very late in the evenings sometimes. So, but anyway, enough about that. I did only get to do one workout, and it was just moments ago. So if you're watching on the live feed, you could probably see that I'm still pretty sweaty from it. Glistening. Thank you, Preston. Better way of putting it. 2 rounds every 7 minutes. You're going to complete 30, 20, 10, starting with calories on the Echo bike and chest bar pull-ups. For the ladies, calories go 24, 16, 8. So ladies bike just a little bit less. So those 2 rounds are extremely hard to make under the cap. And I think I made my first round in 6:06 and my second round in 6:47. So almost a full minute rest in between rounds. And then I barely made it under that 7-minute time cap on the second round. But then you rest for 2 minutes, and then you do max handstand walk in 3 minutes, doing 25-foot increments. And I kind of fell apart during that part. I got only 141 feet of handstand walking.
Very specific.
Yeah, well, I was 9 feet short of 150.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Thank you, Preston. Appreciate it.
25 feet.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, I did all my 25s unbroken besides the last one. So
That's good, because none of the other ones would have counted.
well, that's good. That's very good then. You got to put unbroken, Preston.
He probably did. I just don't copy all of it.
Got to put
Also,
UB.
no, I didn't. I just,
I also noticed
thought it was
that
a first.
I mistyped the ladies' cows, so hopefully nobody actually did 34.
It didn't really have to be that way.
It's okay. But anyway, yeah, super difficult workout.
I'm going to say good job.
Oh.
That's what I meant to say.
That's what he said. It just came out.
Hey, he had the fastest time of anybody on
On round one.
fastest time.
On round one. Yeah, and then I've had 13 seconds to spare on the second round. But anyway, yeah, that was my workout. So one of you two guys, you take it away.
Which one are you doing?
No, I'm gonna do the U gig. So you go, I go from Monday. It was 5 rounds.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're gonna do?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, so it's 5 rounds, 16 dumbbell snatches, 70 pounds for the men, 50 pounds for the ladies, 200-meter run, 7 ring muscle ups, 8 dumbbell snatches, 200-meter run, and then 5 ring muscle ups. So, I mean, it's 5 rounds. You have 12 ring muscle ups per round. So you have 60 total ring muscle ups in there. So I did this with Sarah, one of the ladies on the CrossFit national team, and I like this workout because it was a good test to see if you could hold on to the ring muscle ups unbroken the whole time. But I did fall apart on my runs. They were absolutely miserable. But I did think it was a solid workout to start the week. So yeah.
You use the air runner.
I did use the air runner. This
Yeah.
is true. Yes, I used the air runner for my runs.
Okay. Did you do your muscle ups unbroken?
I mean, yeah, I did do all of the muscle ups unbroken.
That's impressive.
Honestly, I thought the muscle ups were the easiest part of the entire workout.
Really?
So, yeah.
It was a 70-pound dumbbell.
It was a
right?
70-pound dumbbell, which it was never like I was in trouble, like gonna fail a snatch or anything, but I just felt worse like when I would put the dumbbell down than after I would finish my ring muscle up. So
Right. Okay. Cool. P-Dog.
Workout of the week. It was from Monday, October 31st. It was 3 rounds of a 40, 32 cal row, 12 squat cleans, 185 pounds for men, 125 for women, and 24 straight handstand push-ups. It was brutal. It was hard. Cycling those squat cleans got really difficult. That 185 is just a weight, at least for me, I hate it because it's light enough that you can keep moving it, but it's heavy enough that it just wears you out. So it was given for that. And for me, it was another reminder of that I need to work on being able to cycle a heavy barbell quickly and it not impact the gymnastic skills that are with it. So my row and my strict handstand push-ups were definitely negatively impacted from where I would focus on trying to push the barbell speed, and then everything else slowed down. So it's just another reminder, a good training session on stuff you got to work on, stuff you got to improve on. It was a good workout.
And those rounds were straight through.
straight through, yeah, no rest on that one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it was a long workout. If you had asked me before, and I like legit thought through the whole thing, I would have told you like, yeah, this is going to take around 18 to 20 minutes. But in my head, it being a 3-round workout, I just did not have it in my mind that it was going to take that long. So it was a long workout, longer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah, it was a rough one. We did that one at the same time, and typically I can push the pace faster on like squat cleans, so I was like trying to get through those a little bit faster, and then like because you're better at strict handstand push-ups, you would generally catch me, but this workout didn't play out that way. But the row was just like, it was so unbelievably bad that it honestly didn't make sense.
Was it longer than 2 minutes, or were you doing it like 2
you
minutes?
could say it was in longer than 2 minutes.
It was longer?
Well,
Well, I mean, after the
yeah.
first round, yeah, that's right.
But it was, that was a good workout. Now I know why Preston asked which one I was going to choose, because that was my second choice. But yeah,
Cool. What's that noise? Oh, whoops, it's fine. But anyway, so like I said earlier, at Paincave Program on Instagram, give it a follow. Lots of awesome training pieces there, all complimentary by Preston Sechting himself, and awesome strength program by Justin Holland as well. So if you want to get fitter and you want to get stronger, follow that account for lots of great reels and content as well. But like I said at the top of the episode, lots of exciting stuff for us to dive into today. The Rogue Invitational. basically, if any listeners don't know, this is what I would consider the second biggest competition of the entire CrossFit Games season outside of the CrossFit Games. Lots of money on the line, put on by Rogue, who is basically been hand in hand with CrossFit and the CrossFit Games probably since 2010. Like they've been like such a huge part of growing the sport. And Bill and Katie Henniger, who that's the couple that owns Rogue. Bill, I believe, is the CEO. And so they've been awesome for a lot of years, but enough about them. On to the competition. 215 grand for the winner. Second place took 75, and then not sure what the prize purse was below that, but lots of money. So
Everyone gets money, right?
I think everyone gets money, yes, and I think they even go as far as don't they pay for your travel?
They did this year. I don't know if they had done that in the past,
Years
but and they
past.
paid for like their hotels. and
Hotels.
stuff, too, so.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
awesome. They don't even do that at the games.
Right.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, Dubai is the only other one that I know does that.
Yeah, but Dubai is another competition with a lot of money. Hopefully, Dubai brings their prize purse back up to what it used to be this year.
Since it's not a CrossFit sanctioned event, they might.
Yeah, I think they will for sure. But anyway, on to Rogue. For the men's side of the field, you had your top 14 out of the 15 guys from the games. So if you finish top 15 at the games, you get an invite. And then the last 5 spots you had to go through the Rogue online qualifier. So lots of talented athletes on the men's side and lots of very talented athletes on the women's side, just not as many top 15 from the games. So you had your number 1 and number 2 not being there. It's kind of, it's hard not to notice Tia Toomey and Mal O'Brien not being present in the competition. But still very stacked on both sides. Maybe just a little bit heavier on the men's side. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the events first. Because last episode, we went through the events and we kind of said what we thought about them, kind of said maybe, what we thought the, leaderboard would look like when it was all said and done for each specific event. So event 1 was the one that we did not know about, but we podcasted last Friday, so we knew that we knew the gist of it. We weren't sure, but questions have been answered. And yes, the sandbag over hay bale was just 3 reps. I don't get it. An explanation has not been given to this point, but I think Lazar Jukic is correct. I think they just wanted cool pictures, because that just makes no sense. It's just like a meaningless thing for them to do. Everything else in the event I thought was great. I thought it was a great endurance test, with the run and then the ruck and then the run. But those 3 sandbags over the hay bale just made no sense at all. But overall,
did they turn around and go back, or did they just continue on in the same direction that they were going at that point?
I don't know.
Because I was thinking maybe if they used that last.
They didn't go back.
They did. Oh, they kept going.
Mhm.
Never mind.
Because exactly what we had talked about. Did we talk about that?
We talked about this event.
Well, we talked about how who was it? Jeff Adler thought he had won.
Oh,
Right.
that person was already gone. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
right.
and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Is like Jason Hopper had already gone through the sandbags when the rest of them arrived, and so he was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm in first because
Okay.
nobody else has been here." But
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that was very odd to me. That he couldn't see Hopper even though he was only 30 seconds. in front
Yeah,
of
I
him.
guess it depended. It was probably pretty hilly.
Yeah,
because it was in the middle of like a field. or
yeah,
something.
Hopper was already gone when they got to the sandbags, so he didn't see him.
Yeah.
Event 2.
Event 2, ski bar.
This
Ski
one
bar.
went a little bit different than what we thought, huh?
It did. Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Why was that? Because they used 4-inch beams
Yeah.
to do bar muscle ups on.
Yeah, so they weren't bar muscle ups; they were pole muscle ups. So was it 4 inches? Is that what it was?
I'm just guessing. They were pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. That's I mean,
they were pretty big.
100%. But on the men's side, we'll start on the men's side and go to the women's side. So men's side for ski bar, Justin Medeiros comes out with the win, doing champ things. Not that surprising. He adapts really well to new implements. We've known that. I mean, none of those athletes, not a single one of them, had ever tried doing bar muscle ups on a thick wooden pole before. And I thought it was also interesting. It was just a little thing. On the first 20 bar muscle ups, Medeiros used his grips. On the second 20, he did not. He just said, screw it, and I'm just going to go barehanded. Because I think he probably looked around and no one else was using their grips, and he was like, oh, this feels better.
Yeah, there were some, and some of the girls definitely were using theirs, but I mean, I would think if you're throwing, because most of the games athletes just throw their grips over, they don't actually use the finger holes. So if you're throwing your grips over and the thing is bigger than like the bar, it's not going to fold over, right? So like, it's just going to be moving. So you would have better hand feel on the bar or pole, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I bet with chalk it felt fun because most of them were doing, Medeiros and Chandler, which won 2 on that workout, weren't doing singles, but a lot of the guys and girls were doing singles, so it wouldn't have really mattered.
Yeah. So some people, I think Hopper did singles on all 40 reps. Yeah. It's like some people were just like struggling, whereas Medeiros seemed to be able to string together a good amount of them.
I wonder if that had something to do with hand size too.
Honestly, for sure. I think
mean,
so.
Noah Olson crushed it. I mean,
Yeah.
the bar muscle up portion. I think he went unbroken on his first set.
Oh, and he failed reps on the second set.
On the back end,
Yeah.
he was struggling, but he got like 3rd overall in the event.
Yeah, Noah Olson going out too hot. We've never heard
He
of
came
that.
in 8th.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he fell apart on the back half. Because him and Chandler were there. I'm pretty sure he beat Chandler to if I remember correctly. Maybe he didn't, but they were really close together.
Yeah.
And then Chandler beat him on the second set of bar muscle ups.
Yeah, but it honestly doesn't surprise me that much. I mean, Noah is kind of known for hitting workouts hard and then not being able to maintain.
Especially because I picked him to win that workout, so he probably was expecting that was one that he needed to crush, and then
if he had been smarter about it, he I'm not saying he would have won, but I think he could have gotten top 3 if he was smarter about it. But Chandler Smith got second. Chandler had a great weekend. Ricky Garrard got third. Pat Vellner, who we mentioned, who might do really well at this one, he got fourth, which not bad for him, especially because they weren't traditional bar muscle ups. It would have been interesting to see the difference in the leaderboard if they had done just regular bar muscle ups versus the pole. I mean, the leaderboard wouldn't be the same. I'd just be curious to know what it would have looked like if they had just done just regular style. But anyway, so really, really good event. And then on the women's side, Emma Lawson, she continues to amaze me. She was super impressive at the Atlas Games, which is the semifinals. She won, beating Paige Powers this past season. Then going on to the CrossFit Games, where she finished 6th. Super freaking impressive. If you remember Mal O'Brien, when she was 17 last year, she got 7th. So Emma Lawson actually did a whole spot better than Mal at the games, both of them earning Rookie of the Year when they were just 17. But this weekend, she also had a super freaking impressive weekend full of very good finishes. But she won this workout. Cara Saunders, she kind of surprised me on this one a little bit, doing very, very well. I thought Cara adapted to those pole muscle ups really, really well, better than some of the other athletes, but she's such a veteran that, I guess that shouldn't surprise me that much. Ariel Lowen, again, another super impressive athlete who is just kind of a mom who just trains by herself, but strings together like really good performances. Any surprises here besides the top 3 of the women's side for this event?
I feel like this workout was just much different for the ladies.
Yeah.
The poles seem to be a bigger issue
Right.
for them, just because I mean their hands are smaller, obviously, so like
For
they
sure.
can't use the grip and pulling would be much different. So it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
It's a much different test than what we thought. So it's
Yeah.
whatever we thought was going to happen. It doesn't really matter.
It is. Yeah. It is a different test. So, all right, moving on to event 3, keeping this rolling. Back attack. This was maybe my favorite event of the weekend because it was just I was very confident that people were just going to just be failing left and right. But I was shocked at how well these athletes moved that much weight. If you don't know what the workout was, it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 of back squats from the rack, obviously at 405 and 275, and then 25, 20, all the way down to 5 of box jump overs. Any surprises here from, did you like the workout? Did you think it was stupid?
I didn't like the workout.
You didn't like it. Did you not think it was a good test, or did you
I mean,
just
it's a
not
fine
like
test,
watching
but
it
it was like-
visually?
You could just like pull up their maxes, and then I could tell you who's going to win.
Mm.
Like it's like that's what it is. And Nick Matthews said he was going to crush the workout, and guess what he did? He crushed the workout. His max is 600 pounds. Like he can do 500 for 3. Like
Right.
obviously he's going to. His box jumps were twice as fast as everyone else's, and he was walking slowly to the bar. Like if you watched Adler came in second, right? Like Adler was like pushing the pace on like getting back to the squats, and like Matthew was kind of just like, yeah, but his box jumps were just twice as fast because the squats were literally nothing.
Right.
So it's like you knew that he was going to win the workout. But
Yeah.
it's a great test. Like they're very strong. Like that.
Yeah, but I mean, back squat is a part of
Yeah, no,
strength and
it's fine.
fitness.
I
Yeah.
just like
But
it's like
I
you
wouldn't
just know who's
necessarily say like if you look at their maxes, you saw, because I mean Justin Medeiros is very strong, but I wouldn't necessarily put him in third place for that.
I would almost guarantee you that he has like I bet a bunch of them have like the same max. It's like right around the same. Like
Okay.
I would almost guarantee that most of their maxes are very close to each other.
When you say most of them, do you mean the whole entire field?
Well, other than the people that struggle to squat the 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Most of the ones that like finish in the top, I bet their maxes are similar.
But
Like, I
but
think,
that's the
like-
way it is with any.
Yeah, no,
heavy
and
lift.
then like, what were the time differences though? I mean, I don't think like Medeiros was like, what was it? What round? What were it? 3, 4, 446.
Yeah, Medeiros was 446, and then Pat Vellner finished 4th at 456. So 10 seconds.
And then
And
up
I would
through 9th was 30 seconds later. So that's like
Mhm.
that's not a whole lot of difference, right? It's like who at that point then it becomes who's better at the box jumps, and then that is a more of a fitness thing.
Mhm.
But I just thought, I mean, back squats, I don't know. I just thought it was-
Did you like it,
I didn't
Preston?
like it.
No, I mean, just to add to his, I think from a workout perspective, like you might as well have just like lined them up and said work up to a 1 rep max back squat, and I think it's going to play out about the exact same way. And that's where I'm like, I mean, as far as the box jumps and everything else, as far as a test, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's a strength test, but you might as well have just done like, hey, let's just do a 1 rep max back squat, and then everybody can figure that out. But adding in the box jumps and everything else, it just didn't make for an exciting event to watch necessarily. Like I think there was a little bit of a like, oh, who's he going to catch up? But at that load, again, it goes back to whoever's strongest is going to move it, and whoever's not is not. So
I just thought it was extremely impressive.
No, it definitely was.
I genuinely
Yeah,
enjoyed
totally.
watching the event because I was just like shocked. I was like, holy cow, look at some of these guys.
Which and that's what
moving
other
this
people
weight
have said
in
too.
girls.
They liked it because it shows that like CrossFitters aren't like weak. Like people just assume that they are.
Right.
But I mean, it is what it is. Another thing that I thought was interesting was like some of the people were pretty inefficient at the box jumps. I thought, even if they're trying to go slow, which I thought was weird because they're like very high level and like they like just like looked weird trying to do the box jumps. But I thought that was a little weird. But women's side, anything?
I
exciting?
mean, Laura, I mean, was, the one, what did y'all say? Did y'all say Danny Spiegel, I believe? I think y'all picked Danny Spiegel to win this one, and I said Laura. Danny Spiegel did not do nearly as well on this workout as I thought she would. She came in 6th. Little surprised by that. I mean, Danny showed her strength later in the competition on the log lift. But again, this is like if we were just to say all ladies line up and let's just have everyone do a 1 rep max back squat, I don't think Danny Spiegel comes in 6th. I just don't.
I don't know. What's our numbers?
I
What's
don't
our
know.
listed back squat?
I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know.
But just based off of how
It's very
good,
strong, but back squat is could be a monster number compared to your squat clean or your snatch.
Yeah, some people can't express
Yeah.
the same.
yeah,
So I'd be interested to see also.
yeah,
It's surprising, but I would be curious because, Ellie Turner, yes,
Yeah.
she's gonna have one of the biggest back
Yeah.
squats. Laura Horvath is definitely gonna have one of the biggest back squats.
for sure. Annika Greer, kind of a little surprised. We know she's strong. Yeah, we know she's
Yeah.
strong for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily put her in 3rd, but good for her. That's super impressive performance. Cara Saunders, we
I would have expected.
we expect her to be in the mix on any sort of strength implement. So yeah, awesome on those ladies. Super impressive. But I mean, whether you like the event or not, it was one of 2 strength tests over the course of 10 workouts. So I would say the other 8 were much more fitness
Yeah, sure.
focused, and to have 2 out of so it's what 20% of the competition be more focused on strength. I don't think that's crazy. I mean, do either of you? I mean, if you look at the CrossFit Games, they're known for having kind of mostly strength, but also just a little bit of fitness. Like remember Strongman Sphere in 2017? That was all right, these things are really freaking heavy. Whoever's the strongest is gonna move it the easiest. But you also have to handstand walk. So a little bit of fitness involved there. So nothing that we haven't seen in the past. But moving on to event 4. Where is event 4? They did that one at night, didn't they? DT with a spin. DT with a spin. We all said that this one was going to be kind of boring. We didn't think that it was going to be anything too exciting. No surprise at all. Roman Krenikov wins this one. And does it? I wouldn't say he dominated because Sam Quant was right on his heels.
But Sam Quant was never had a chance.
Yeah, I mean, unless Roman messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, which can easily happen. Roman also, we need to point this out because I texted Justin when I was watching it over the weekend. One of the announcers said that, and I wonder if this is true.
They mentioned it multiple times.
Yeah, that Roman came in this weekend at 230 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Russian muscle.
He's big.
I thought he said 235.
Maybe they did.
235?
Yeah, they
That would
mentioned,
be even
yeah, they
more
said
crazy.
one of them just generically later said 230. I was like, oh.
Yeah, maybe it was 230 because I feel like they referenced him at 230. They were saying that maybe Jason Hopper was 220.
Yeah.
But Hopper was 220 at the games.
Yeah.
That's we know that number.
Yeah.
But we didn't think that Roman was that heavy.
Has he gained that? Because he didn't weigh that much at the games.
They didn't say he did. They said that he was 220 at the games.
Either way, that one went basically how we said it was going to go.
Well, Sam Quant, though, I feel dumb for not mentioning his name if I didn't, because if we remember back when Sam, I believe, was a rookie back in 2016, when they did double DT, he won double DT.
Yeah, they mentioned that during the broadcast. I don't know that I remembered that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was babyface Sam Quant, he was a child out there amongst men, and he wasn't even in the last heat.
Yeah.
So Matt Frazier and Ben Smith went in the next heat, in the last heat, but neither one of them could beat Quant's time, even though they knew what he got. They still couldn't beat his time on double DT. So definitely a good barbell cycler, that Samuel Quant. Jankowski did very well, like, BKG and Justin Medeiros, Jason Hopper, about what you would expect from the order there. But anyway, moving on to the women's side, DT with a spin. Laura Horvath, she was on a tear. This was her second event win in a row. She won that workout only by a couple seconds. Alexis Raptis was pretty close to her. Alexis, obviously, she trains with Training Think Tank and Travis Mayer and that crew. But she's a very good barbell cycler. Ellie Turner, I wouldn't say I was surprised by that, that she did that well on this event, but she had a lot of event finishes this weekend that I would say I was surprised by how well she did based on her performance at the games. And this is a pretty darn similar field to the games. Like, it's not that far off from what we saw, like athlete-wise level of competition. So to finish third in DT with a spin, we know she's strong as shit, but she really proved it here on this one by getting third. Then coming in fourth, Gabby Magala. She's really freaking strong as well. And then in fifth, Annie Thorisdottir. So no real surprises there. But before we move on to the next event, thoughts on DT with a spin. All three of us said it was going to be lame. We were like, it's not going to be anything flashy at all. Like, it's literally, and might I just say, I don't remember which one of you called it, but I think it was Justin. But you called it because as soon as the event was over, that reporter went up to Laura Horvath and she was like, between DT with a spin and regular DT, like which do you prefer? She was like, oh, like with her accent, like, I prefer this one because you kind of get a break on the bike. And I was like, Justin literally said that.
Well, I mean, if you Preston told me, I didn't go back and watch it, but even Roman was saying that he was recovering on the bike.
Yeah.
He used the bike as like a recovery bike until the last one.
Yeah.
And then pushed the pace on the last one. So it's like, and he also did DT unbroken, and a lot of people didn't, which is why he was ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure we said this too last week, that it was going to be, I mean, it's like, Preston may have said that it was kind of lazy, but it did allow for good finishes. If you like the women's, like, once you got past the first two people, because they finished like right neck and neck, and then the next like 4 or 5 scores were also really close together. So like they did have really close finishes, but it's kind of just like boring to watch until the end,
Right.
when like, the people were finishing. So.
Yeah. I mean, as competitors, that's like, from my perspective, I'm always just like, if I had these athletes, I would want to give them something new that they haven't seen. However, this may have been one of the parameters of the competition, that they're like, hey, we want to do a benchmark. So pick a benchmark and then do whatever, do some kind of a twist with it.
Yeah.
So that may have even been.
But if you're going to do a twist with a benchmark, I mean, I don't know, make it a little bit more exciting than just 15 cows.
I think there's a lot you could do to make it new and exciting. I think even Cara Saunders referenced it, where it was just, she was like, I'm just over DT. It's just, and she's really good. She's really good at DT. She's really good at DT, right? But she's like, I've done it every way, with a ski and a row and a bike, and so she's like, I'm over it. It's fine. Much like many of the benchmarks, if you're a competitive athlete in the CrossFit world, you've done all these benchmarks over and over and over and over. So
yeah. And to be honest, as a fan, I'm a little sick of it too. I've seen double DT, I've seen heavy DT, I've seen DT with a bike now. I'm good.
Like, it was one of those that you could, like, you were watching it and then I just kind of like checked out until the last few seconds, when you were like, oh, how are they going to finish? But everything leading up to that, there was no dramatic, like, oh, he's catching up, or he's like falling behind. It was just like, okay, like, when they go out and they cycle more, and then they come by, and it's like, well, that's not exciting at all.
No,
So
no, not exciting. But I completely
It's
agree.
great if you're good at DT. That was a great event. If you
Yeah.
saw that, you're like, oh, I'm good at DT. I'm good.
Yeah, Sam Quant saw that and he was like, yes, absolutely. He's like, I want more DT.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. Well, again, they could have, Spieler and Bridges could have made it a little bit more unique and exciting, I guess. But, what do I know? They know more about CrossFit than I do. But anyway, event 5, the Twaddle. I will say there were a couple events that like I was really pumped to watch. And then when I saw it, I was like, that's lame as fuck. And the turtle was one of them. When I saw it on paper, like again, like Rogue kind of like vaguely like puts out a workout description of the workout, and you can kind of like speculate like, oh, what's it gonna look like? And this one, it was like, okay, they're doing an axle bar lunge. Is it going to be overhead? Is it going to be front rack? Like, what's it going to be? And then they do a monkey bar traverse, like, like a jungle gym, like we've seen that before, like the killer cage that Preston referenced from 2010 at the games. And then the, bag pull up the hill, which is, what the turtle was. And someone referenced it. I don't remember if it was on. I forget where I heard it, but I was in the same boat as this person when they said Rogue always does such cool things, like with the pig and with the snail, and then when they repurpose the snail into the slug, and like they like have these animal, quote unquote implements.
You didn't like
the turtle. It's just a sandbag.
But it had a picture of
a turtle on it. It's
What
like,
did you want?
I don't know. Something big and exciting that like looked cool. It was literally a sandbag that was shaped different, like shaped kind of circular, and had a turtle picture on top of it. And they just pulled it up the hill. It was not. I don't know how you guys felt. I want to hear your opinions on the event before we get into the finishes. But the monkey bars, that was stupid. That
I
was
didn't think they were long enough.
It was so irrelevant.
I guess it was like my only thing. The workout, it kind of looked like what I expected it to. I just would say that the monkey bar traverse was like not very long.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem to matter in the workout. Like I didn't see anyone struggle with it.
Not a single person.
Yeah.
Like some people were swinging a little bit more than others and weren't as efficient, but like it literally didn't play a factor at all in the workout. It was dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing really obviously if you're not good at hand over hand pulling, like then you wouldn't have been good at the bag pull. And then the only other thing was like I felt like the lunge, like under normal circumstances, I would say like for these athletes, like 155 with the axle bar like is irrelevant, but there were a lot of mistakes made on the lunges.
Yeah.
So like it made for a little bit of excitement, but the way that the workout was programmed didn't cause that. It was just that people were sloppy.
Yeah.
It didn't cause.
Yeah. If you finish the lunge first, you finish the workout first, basically.
If you got to the lunge first.
Yeah.
The back half lunge.
Because no one outside of no reps, no one failed the lunge. Everyone did it.
But there were more no reps than you would have expected.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are high-level athletes.
Medeiros had a no rep where he didn't step over the line with both feet, which is crazy for the champ to make a mistake like that.
He never makes mistakes like that. So
So like there were quite a few people that did that, which is very surprising at that level. Obviously, you're trying to go super fast, so it's like whatever. The things do happen, but yeah, I mean, it was like not super fun to watch, but I just would have liked for the monkey bars to be longer. Obviously, that just takes a lot more.
And for the turtle to be cooler. Dear Rogue,
I thought it was just
dear Bill and Katie, if you can make a 22,000 pound wheel of pain that is a recreation from Conan the Barbarian for the strongman event, then you can make the turtle cooler.
Yeah, I really likes this turtle.
I mean, it literally said a bag pull, so I just thought they were going to be pulling a regular sandbag up the hill. So,
What can I say? What can I say? I like turtles.
The workout.
The workout. So we can start on the men's side. So Medeiros won on the men's side. This was event. Wait, was this
No, that
event
was
five?
event five.
This was event five. Sorry. Sam Quant won on the men's side. Good finish for Sam. But just like we mentioned a second ago, he was the first person to get to the lunge. And then literally like less than a second or whatever behind him was Pat Vellner. Really good finish for Pat. He could have used some of those points at the end of the weekend. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Henrik Kapalainen, I believe that was his best finish of the weekend. Good for Henrik. And then you have Jeff Adler and Noah Olson. So some of the usual suspects that you might expect at the top of the leaderboard for this one. Nothing really surprises me here. I think it's a really good finish for Sam. I think Sam's separation was on the bag pole. That's where he kind of made up the majority of his time. Same with Vellner. But again, there wasn't that much to separate the athletes in this one. Like if you had made the monkey bars the length that they were, but had 3 of them back to back to back, you know, where like athletes can like shake it out for just like a second and go right back, or if they're feeling good, just jump right back up. That would have made it better.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed that the expectation was that their grip was going to be messed up on the back half because of the pull, but I just think that it wasn't far enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, logistically, I'm sure it was just,
Yeah.
like, we can't build a
No,
giant
exactly.
monkey bar that has a million bars. It's going to take forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll just do this.
It's rogue. I disagree. It's rogue.
yeah.
They've done. Have you seen Zeus?
Well, yeah,
I mean-
Zeus gets used every year, though.
Yeah,
Like,
but like, why can you not? You know, they've done the killer cage before. They can. They could have done better on the monkey bars. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to run an event this big and you have a bunch of new implements and new things because you don't, from logistically, you don't know how long it's going to take to set up necessarily or break down. And so, I mean, they were even running behind on, this is all day 2, right?
Yeah, this is Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Well,
they were,
I guess technically day 3 if you count the trail run, but
they were,
yeah,
they were running behind with a lot of that stuff. And so I think that's the challenge to adding new things is like, how long is it going to take to get it out there, get it back? Like what, we got to set up heat schedules and times. So, I mean, yeah, but you could have done monkey bars.
Yeah.
You'd already done the big fat bar, but you could have done a fatter bar.
oh, yeah.
Monkey bars, and that would have been,
cool.
if you
And
couldn't do it as long, it would have been just as hard.
You could have alternated even like regular bar with a fat bar.
Yeah.
Just to make it longer, but yeah.
Yeah, they could have
you could have done a
swung
lot.
from softballs and grabbed them and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but so the women's side.
Laura continues her tear. Wins this one, Laura Horvath. Then the people's champ, the darling of CrossFit, Annie Thor's daughter, comes in second. But honestly, Laura won this one. She won it by 6 seconds, but watching the broadcast, it felt longer than that. It felt like Laura was like really far in front. Like when you were looking at that final lunge, Laura looked like she was like really in front. So Annie, not that surprising. She's really good at lunges. Danielle Brandon, this is the kind of finish we expect out of her, not the finishes that she was averaging over the course of this weekend. But Danielle comes in third. This is a pretty athletic run, move, pull, swing, kind of, show your athleticism a little bit. So not surprised to see her there. And then Gabby Magala and Amanda Barnhart. So, I mean, no real surprises there, in my opinion. I mean, y'all surprised by any of those? Yeah. So usual suspects on the women's side. For sure, event 6, the dual 2. So I didn't love this one. Didn't love it. I have a very specific reason why I didn't love it, and it's the overhead squats. When you have an event that is an elimination style event, for the listeners, if you don't know, it's 1 legless rope climb, 10 overhead squats at 135 and 95, and then a sandbag carry to the finish. Heavy sandbag though, 200 pounds and 150 pounds. I just don't, I have a large amount of trouble justifying some of the reps that I saw from even athletes that I trust and I know that they're good, clean movers. Like just not necessarily getting to depth, but opening up your hips at the top and having your hips in line with your shoulders or having your hips in front of your shoulders at the top because they're sprinting. They're trying to go as fast as possible. And if your judge is letting you get away with a couple reps that are like on the borderline, you're going to keep doing that until they no rep you. So I don't know. I think overhead squats, if you're going to do a sprint style event, overhead squat isn't necessarily your friend. But what did you guys think about it? Did you like it? Hate it? What did you think about it?
Unlike any event that takes 3 hours. So
It did take a long time because it's the limit. It's like for listeners, it's March Madness bracket style. So like there's 5 people in a heat, and then they take the top. What was it? The top 10 times, and the top 10 people move on,
yeah.
and then so on.
And they were giving them like a decent amount of rest between each round,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess they were having trouble determining finishes because even one of the girls, Alexis Raptis, they messed up her time and she had to appeal, and then she had to do the whole round by herself because they didn't realize it until after the fact. Or actually her coach realized it because he like brought it to their attention because you can literally see there was a girl in her heat that she clearly beat that they put in ahead of her. Which that's what I thought was crazy because I was like, I know one of those people was in her heat and she came in second. And she only came in second because she fell on her face.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, it just took forever. The overhead squat, yes. Obviously, when you're sprinting, really any squat, it's not even like overhead squat, like whatever, any squat, you're going to run the risk of people not standing up all the way. Overhead squats to me is the standard I think is kind of.
Just say it. Say it.
I just think it's stupid that like your shoulders have to be in line because that's just not like how people stand up. Like if you were to watch the Olympics, we'll say somebody like catches a snatch, like CJ Cummings, one of the best lifters in the United States.
Right.
When he's standing up with 350 over his head, his shoulders are in front of his hips, but the bar is directly in line with his midline. So like that rep is good in the Olympics.
Okay.
He's good. So like he's standing it up all the way. His hips are open, but his shoulders, because he has like such a big arch, are in front of his hips. So like to me, you're taking somebody out of position to get them to meet that standard. So I think that is kind of like.
Yes, but it is the standard.
No, I understand it's the standard. I think it's stupid.
Okay. I agree that it's maybe not doesn't make the most sense. But what other way are you going to standardize it across?
You can open your hips all the way and still have your shoulders in front of your like.
But how does the judge know that? That's what I'm saying.
Obvious.
You gotta.
If you flash your hips open, then you're standing up all the way. Like even if I flash my hips, then I just stood up all the way. Like I don't understand how there's a gray area. Like that's just my opinion. Obviously, they're never going to change it because, like you're saying, some judges would have a problem. Some judges have a problem with every single standard that there is, though.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Did you like it, Preston?
No, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
The Lego rope climb was cool. I think the run with the bag was cool. Overhead squats just it's a bad choice. And then the judging standard was just and that's on the event organizers. The judging standard was just all over the place.
Yeah.
And so then you open the floodgates to like, oh, okay, well, like if they're not calling it, and I don't want to get eliminated, so I'm going to do whatever everybody else is doing. And so I think a few people had major problems because their judge was like, I'm going to call it like it's supposed to be called, and then everybody else was like, close enough.
Right.
And so that's where I just think for the event was fine, but you didn't have it standardized well enough that you got to actually test everybody equally. And so not a good event overall because, whoever won, that wasn't necessarily, you could argue it a lot of different ways because there was just too many factors that played into it and it wasn't fitness.
Right.
So
agreed.
Yeah, I just think from that perspective, it should have been fun, but under those circumstances, they should have known it was going to go the way it went.
Yeah.
Especially when it's elimination style. And then I know they had a big like problem with like the finish position because they said like you had to finish with both feet on the
With the bag under control, people were diving.
People were jumping across and like all these things. And so it's just more, stuff that didn't add up. It wasn't the same for everybody. So it was just wasn't executed properly.
And might I just say, I didn't know that you had to have both feet on the white with the bag under control, because that definitely didn't happen for a lot of people. But might I just say, there were a few of those, let's call them quote unquote dives to the finish that were
Some of them definitely failed.
that were failing forward.
Yeah, but in that scenario, they would have needed to pick the bag up
and
establish control past the finish line, technically by the standard.
Yeah, to get your feet on.
Yeah, and there were multiple people, like Preston was saying, like their judging was harder, and like I watched multiple people do 11 overhead squats and still win their heat. So like it should have been like they were like smashing everyone because their squat cycle speed is so much faster, but they were getting no reps when other people weren't necessarily. Even when a couple of the people like Medeiros, I'm pretty sure one of his rounds he did 11 and still won his heat or round or whatever. So it's like, and none of the reps to me looked any different. So it's like, why did he get the no rep? He doesn't know why he got no rep, because when it looks the same as the other ones. But anyway, that was a tough standard. I mean, fast squatting is always going to be
fast squatting is overhead squat should not be in a
on a workout, especially when it's like that low of a number, because you are going to be going.
You're trying to go as fast as
What about
possible.
this? To make the event more exciting, it should have been called the turtle. And instead of a giant sandbag, it's a giant like weighted suit that they got to put on.
And do overhead squats.
And then they got to crawl this giant
up the hill
600-pound suit 50 feet. And so literally they're just going to move really slow.
Like a turtle.
Like a turtle.
Like a turtle. On all fours.
That would
honestly, that would have been
hilarious. A lot better.
It would have been hilarious.
You can use that if you want.
That's pretty
Turtle suit weighs 300 pounds.
I was going to say 500 just a bit
Nah,
excessive. Somebody might die in there.
They're still going. They're not moving.
Yeah. Rogue Fitness, if you're listening, and we know that you are, you can take this idea from
They'd have to test that one. 300 pounds for men, 200 pounds for the women. Suit, put it on, and then you should crawl.
Let's just say who won for the women and then move on to.
Well, okay. So for the men, it was Medeiros, Jorge Fernandez. Those are really the only two names you need to mention because they were just smashing everyone else. Jorge Fernandez, though, very impressive finish for him.
His squats are very fast.
Very fast. And Chandler and Vellner came in after them.
Can you go back? Where did Scott Tedlow finish?
Oh, good question.
I'm just wondering.
Short guy. Where did Tetlow? Ooh, no.
So he got some no reps.
Where is he? Oh my gosh. Second to last, 19th.
Interesting.
That's tough. That is tough.
I think he's bad at running with the sandbag.
Maybe, I mean, it's a 200-pound sandbag, and he is not.
I watched. multiple people dropped it. So if you do that one time, then you ruin your round. That could have easily been what happened in his second round, third round, or whatever. He drops the bag, and then you're done. So.
Yeah. On the women's side, Laura Horvath, fourth event win in a row. She wins. That sandbag looked like it was literally empty for her versus some of the other girls. And then Danielle Brandon, again, this is like kind of an athletic, more like speed, agility type test. So we expect Danielle to do well in this one. She comes in second, again, on par for what we expect from her, but not necessarily her average over the weekend. And then Cara Saunders comes in third. And then Ellie Turner comes in fourth. I thought Ellie would win this one. She was my pick to win just because her squat speed won her hat trick at the games with the high wall balls because of her squat speed. But her
speed wasn't as fast though.
It wasn't as fast. Yeah, it wasn't as fast on overhead squats, but still it was really
Laura
good.
won that workout purely because of how quickly she could pick up the bag.
Yeah.
It was because Danielle was ahead of her by 2 reps.
Right.
Both rounds that they were together, and they would get, which I heard Laura's squat speed is actually unreal as well, how fast it is.
Yeah. So Texas Oak, I have very strong opinions on this one, this is the log lift, but I'll let you gentlemen go first and speak your piece because I have strong opinions on this one. So either one of you, what did you think about the event? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think about it?
I know Preston knows more about the workout than I do as far as like how it was supposed to go and like some things that went down, so he can talk more. But just as far as like, I liked that they did the log lift. Now, maybe how it went or how they ran the event didn't go smoothly, so it didn't make for like the finishes weren't probably what they should have been, specifically on the men's side. But I think from the women's side, it shook out exactly how I expected it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the men's side, it just looked like they started too heavy. And then we didn't advance very far, and then it was over. So I don't know. I feel like with the pool that we have there, it should have started lighter maybe, or something. Because something was up. Because I don't how many people went out on the first bar. It was like 3 or 4 athletes were out on the first bar.
Yep.
I mean, like Lazar was probably one of them, but anyways, or maybe not. I don't know. But I just it was a good event. Again, I just think that for the men's side, the women I thought it was fine. The men's side, it was it just didn't seem like they had much time out there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really freaking stupid when you literally eliminate half the field in the first 3 logs. Like, they started way too freaking heavy. Like, well, I think it was 260 was the starting weight. 260 was the starting weight. It's way too freaking heavy. Like, and they should have known this. I mean, you got to take a page out of the Dave Castro, kind of playbook, and you got to have high level athletes test this. And they did. They had Christy Aramo test this.
Yeah, but the girl one, I wasn't off.
The girl weight wasn't off.
Yeah.
So that tells me that they just had a girl do it and they didn't have a guy do it. That's what that tells me. So they definitely dropped the ball there. And also,
or did they have a guy do it that knew how to use one?
Yeah, maybe
that would change it a lot.
I mean, maybe.
What did the women
know.
start at? Do we know?
I can look.
It went to 2. That last the when they actually used the Texas soap. When Spiegel used it, it was 215.
It just felt very
It started at like 160.
160.
Yeah. So what is that? 160 compared to 260. So that's obviously not the same percentage that we usually use. So how would they have done it if they didn't have a male tested? You can't just guess.
I don't know.
Plus 100.
It felt like that's what they did because it was such a shit show.
I mean, if that would have been crazy, they just ask one of the strongmen, like, what do you think that they can do?
What do you think a CrossFitter can do? No, and the other thing, I don't know if y'all caught this on the live broadcast, but it was a shit show as far as the 3, 2, 1.
Well, that's what Preston mentioned. That they talked about that.
Oh my God!
I just thought it was weird how sometimes they gave them because you could lift at as long as you had the log lifted before the time was up, then you could keep lifting. There was sometimes they would give them the roll over to the next minute, and then they were other times they were like, oh no, you need to go right now, and so people were not getting equal amounts of time
or equal amounts of rest. And
sure.
and there was even one point Noah Olson walked out there and he was looking to his left and right we not going, boys? We not lifting right now? I don't understand why, and I actually don't remember the lift in at Syndicate this past year. What was it? A recording?
No, he was doing it.
There was a guy doing it. Okay,
right there. Yeah.
Okay, but it wasn't every 45 seconds though. It wasn't y'all's on the was it on the minute or on the 90 seconds or the 2 minute? It was something like that.
We were on the minute.
On the minute.
But you lifted every 2 minutes, I guess, but each person had their own minute.
Right.
So he counted down every minute, but there wasn't you couldn't you had to have the lift completed.
Yeah.
At the time, so there was no carryover. So You just move. So it was like, and we had a time. It was like the countdown for each 2 minute or to each person, and then you had like a 10-second window or whatever to move to the next bar. So it just like allowed for him, like he just got into a rhythm, and we were never off. The only time it got weird was for the person that if you cleared all of the bars and you were in that front one because your time was different than everyone else's. That was the only time that it ever got weird for anyone.
Yeah.
So,
but I just thought that it was a big missed opportunity because that event could have been so freaking cool. It still wasn't bad. I mean, it was still fun to watch, but I was just getting so frustrated watching them stumbling over like this every 45 seconds and athletes being confused. Also, Jeff Adler didn't get enough rest, and I heard Brian Friend did the math on it.
wasn't it that he didn't have enough time to lift? Not that he didn't have
yeah,
enough
that's
rest.
right. He didn't have enough time to lift. That's what I meant to say. And if Jeff Adler had made that lift, he would have won the entire competition. He came in third, but he would have won it outright.
Because of the amount of points that he would have gotten just by getting past that bar.
Yep. He would have beat Medeiros. So big on Rogue's part.
Yeah, I think they should have started lighter and given them more time to warm up and get used to the movement. It's a new implement.
Yeah.
And then I think it just started too heavy, and you work out a lot and you just start lifting a really heavy load. It feels horrible, and then it doesn't seem to get any better unless it was actually a warm up rep. So I'd say for your top guys, it was probably like fine to start with that, but with some of the other guys, they probably could have made it further had they had a couple more bars in there to just get used to the movement itself. Similar to the sandbag at the games.
But that started pretty light though.
Yeah. It was almost the opposite effect from the games. It's like the sandbag at the games, it was kind of like, oh, this is boring. Like everyone's making it. And then, then it got exciting. I would have rather that happen than what happened here. Whereas like you have two men that can't do the first log. That's stupid. Like that's just big swing and a miss on the loading. But Chandler Smith wins it. Roman comes in second. No surprise there. Those two boys are strong as hell. Then Ricky Garrard, good for him, comes in third. And then on the women's side, Laura Horvath really starting to slip here. She comes in second. To Danny Spiegel, who we mentioned earlier on back attack. She's super strong. Thought she would do better on back attack, but proved her strength here. She won the sandbag lift at the games, or the sandbag clean, I'm sorry, at the games. Yeah, and then she won here. On
all of these lifts look super easy. I thought Horvath's performance in this one was super impressive because she missed her first attempt like 3 times in a row, or maybe just twice, but coming back on a second was very impressive.
Very, very.
Yeah, and the fact that she was struggling so much with that 200 pounds, and Danny Spiegel still looked great.
She looked like it was nothing. Absolutely nuts. Yeah, but Ellie Turner comes in third. No surprise there. She's super strong as well. Moving right along, only 3 events left. Event 8, snatch and press. I was shocked, honestly, on the men's side. I guess, he keeps having performances that surprise me, but I shouldn't be surprised anymore. Jason Hopper wins this one handily, like by almost a full minute. Like he was like pretty much recovered by the time Yonakoski came across the finish line. But I thought this was a good test. I did. It was honestly, I said it would be a sprint on the last episode. It wasn't as much as I thought it would be. But I think didn't we also think that it was kipping for some reason?
It didn't say. So we weren't sure.
So we weren't sure. But it was strict, and a lot of those guys and girls struggle with that implement a little bit more than I thought they would. But Hopper wins. Yonakoski comes in second. Chandler Smith comes in third, and big miss by Vellner on this one. I think he was in the lead going into the last round. And well, not in the lead. He wasn't beating Hopper or Koski. I think he was in third.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had some critical no reps. But you kind of do that as an athlete. You kind of go before you're ready. Sometimes. And
yeah, I think some of them were getting no reps on the handstand push-ups, not necessarily because they were failing, but because if your feet came off the wall, then it was a no rep. And I don't know that people usually use that as a standard.
If you're at any point,
At any point, if your feet came off the wall, then it was a no rep. Because I noticed
That's
like
weird.
a bunch of people were getting no reps and they were asking why. So
that's odd.
yeah.
But do you like it, Preston? Did you like as a test? Did you like the event?
Yeah, I liked the event. I thought it was good. I thought it was a great event because you got to see who had good pacing, who knew themselves as an athlete really well. And then even some of these guys just didn't know how it was going to go when they got there.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I thought it was a great test.
Yeah.
Good on Jason Hopper. Just smoked it.
Smoked it. And also really impressive by Medeiros too, to like his second to last rep was like, ooh. Like it was like he almost missed that, but then he ended up pulling it out at the end too. That's what going back to what you said about knowing yourself as an athlete. Pretty impressive there.
Why some of them were hanging on to the snatches, I don't know, but
Yeah,
they were.
Medeiros was doing that. Like the difference in
he
singles
was,
and the difference in singles and touch and go. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was doing that just because he figured that he needed more time on the handstand push-ups, and those don't bother him. Because they did look easier for him
they
than
looked
most
very
of the
easy.
other people. But
Yeah,
he was one of the few people, at least that was cycling, that looked okay doing it.
yeah.
Hopper won by almost a full minute, and he did singles on all of them.
Yeah, his handstand push-ups looked great.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I just figured everyone would do singles, and then if you can kill the handstand push-ups, you kill them then. But some people hung on to it, and they know themselves. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that would smoke me for sure.
Yeah, honestly,
shoulders and breathing.
It makes the echo press at the games this past year make a little bit more sense. With Hopper almost winning that one, he's arguably him and Roman best on the bike by far. And then the
He's so big. He's so good.
I know, it's crazy. Think about if he lost some lbs, what he would do. But Emma McQuaid, what?
So he'd probably be sick.
Yeah,
He's a big guy.
he's a big guy.
It's like me.
Both of you. Emma McQuaid won this one. Very impressive performance by her as well. She won by over a minute. The handstand push-ups for her just looked effortless. She's a super impressive athlete. It's kind of like Hopper. It was just like she was almost doing a different workout than everyone else. Then the girl who came in through the qualifier, Menon Agonis, I think is how you say her name. She got second in that one. Super impressive. And then one of the most surprising performances of the weekend for me was Danny Spiegel coming in third. I mean, for nothing else other than she has a very thick lower body, and that is a lot to move on strict handstand push-ups. Like that, it just is.
Yeah.
And so
I think she's generally she's good at them though, which is surprising.
I just didn't.
I mean, her overhead position is great.
Is great, but I just didn't know she was that good at pressing. But I mean, apparently she is, and I will never underestimate her on a handstand push-up implement in a workout ever again. So very good on her. Event 9, the goblets. I think this is my favorite event from the weekend. Just a grueling workout. Like if you were to ask me like what workout would hurt the worst, I'd probably say that would probably be the one. 7 rounds, 7 ring muscle ups, run up the hill. Then you do 11 goblet squats at 88 pounds and 62 pounds with a kettlebell. On this one, we said it last episode, but Vellner, we're not surprised. It's ring muscle ups. For all of these athletes on the men's side, 7 is doable. Like you can do 7 for 7 rounds. It'll be hard, but you can do it. But the difference for Vellner is from round 1 to round 7, all of his ring muscle ups looked, dare I say, easy and effortless. So he was not afraid to just jump right up onto those rings, and he was lapping guys in that second heat. So really good on Vellner. But Vellner only beat Cole Sager, who was in the previous heat, by 1 second. And Vellner said at the end of the event he did not know what Cole's time was. Whether I believe that or not, I don't
I'm
know.
not sure how much you would have been able to change, honestly.
Yeah.
In a workout like
A
that.
workout like that for sure. And Jeff Adler.
I did like that workout though. It was good.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't want to do it, but it was good.
Yeah, I would not want to do it either. And then on the women's side, once again, Emma Lawson finishes a workout but doesn't get to cross the finish line. She gets her second first place finish of the weekend. Super impressive 17-year-old. Then Matilda Garnes, she surprised me on that one, but her ring muscle up ability, shined through on that event. She's just better at ring muscle ups than the other girls, and besides Emma, obviously. So that was very clear. And then that girl that I mentioned just moments ago, Manon Agonis, she got there through the qualifier and continued to, have a couple of events in a row that were really good for her. So good on her. But I want to know, Preston, in your opinion, was this workout programmed well? Because it was very, very fun to watch. It was probably my favorite event to watch. But do you think the test, as far as the workout itself goes, how did you like it?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good workout. This would be one I put in that class of like it wasn't. I didn't know that it was necessarily super fun to watch, but yeah, it was just a good test. It was longer. You've got running mixed in with gymnastics and then a little bit of lifting. So it was a balanced workout. So I thought it was a good test compared to the other tests that they had gone through. So yeah, I thought it was a good workout.
Yeah, well balanced and lots of ring muscle ups.
Yeah, that hill sprint, it started looking gross those last couple of rounds.
Yeah. I also thought it was a cool, interesting strategy that Laura Horvath was the only athlete on men or women's side that from the beginning she was putting her hands like on her thighs, like on her knees.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was like, well, it's not against the rules. Why wouldn't you do it? But anyway, final event. We did not know this event last week. They announced it. Heavy Grace, gross. 225 for men, 165 for women. Appropriate loading.
Wait, before we go on, go back to the last event.
Oh, going back to the last
Yes.
event? Yeah, okay.
What place did Roman Krinikov get on that event?
Oh, no.
He fell apart.
So our old pal
Big boy.
Roman had a tough go of it. Did he get? What did he get?
I think it was
17th.
17. Something like that,
It is the first time, if you take the CrossFit Games from this past year and the Rogue Invitational from this year, out of all of those events, so 13 at the Games, 10 here, out of 23 events, it's the first event that I have seen him not look himself. And Snorri, who is his coach, claims that he did not, and I quote, refuel his body correctly before that event. But I think it might have something to do with him being 230 pounds or maybe north of 230.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. Is what are your thoughts on that? I didn't eat enough for that workout.
I honestly didn't know that he had said that. It didn't look like he had the juice, but it didn't look like he had the juice, but I just was assuming he didn't have the juice because he's big.
He's a big fella.
I mean, I'm pretty big, and I wouldn't have the juice on that. And I'm good at ring muscle ups, and I'm pretty strong. And after 4 rounds, I'm pretty sure I would have looked like I was gonna die. So, he may not have fueled properly, but I think that could have been part of it. After that's one of the last workouts, right? So that's really important that late into a competition. But I think part of it is because he's really big. But I mean, he did well on like. It's not like he's not a good runner. He is a good runner. So it's like,
It's a very good.
yeah. So that makes it you think a little bit more that could be valid because like if he would have done terrible at the games on like all of the endurance events, then you could be like, maybe he's just not good at endurance. But the fact that he did.
Yeah. And also an 88-pound kettlebell and squatting for him is literally like a body weight squat. Like it would be like
Recovery squad.
yeah. Yeah.
What would that be like, Preston? Recovery
I
squad.
don't know. Even body weights. It's struggle for me.
But I heard that his coach said it. I hope that is the case because if he said it, that is a red flag for me. Never make an excuse. Doesn't
Except for you
matter.
have COVID.
Yeah. Well,
That's it.
but yeah, that's valid, which does make sense. Old Saxon makes sense to his performance over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it's just a bigger question is like, okay, well, how did it even happen then? Like, why?
No,
It's a
exactly.
pretty major blunder.
No, it's a huge problem. Like
for between as an athlete and then on your team, or just like, oh yeah, I just forgot to eat.
It's hard. It is hard to eat during competition, especially like with nerves and anxiety and butterflies. It can be hard to eat, but for this caliber of athlete though, like that's part of the game.
how much
Yeah.
time did they have between these workouts?
Enough.
3 hours.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
So
It is.
I mean, my initial reaction is to just believe the guy because he's freaking good.
Yeah.
He's freaking good.
And yeah, I mean, but yeah, I just think it's a pretty big blunder.
Yeah, very
like, oh yeah, just didn't
uncharacteristic.
eat enough. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very odd. Hopefully that something like that, he learns his lesson and that doesn't happen again. Roman, if you're listening, and we know that you are, eat some food, big boy. You need it. You're 235 pounds. Moving right along to heavy grace, though. 10 pounds heavier than your traditional men to women's weight for the women. Which is very appropriate for this caliber of athlete, very appropriate. And you could see that through the finishing times. It was very, very similar to the men. And if it had been 10 pounds lighter, I think the women would have been pretty reckless and just like been able to throw that thing around. I mean, 10 pounds is a lot, especially for the women. That would equivalent for the guys would be like a 15 to 20 pound difference,
Yeah.
something like that. So yeah, pretty big difference. I think Rogue got that right.
I thought you mistyped that whenever or miswrote it for the class workout.
Oh,
When I guess I didn't pay attention close enough when I was watching the event. And then I was like, oh, Preston messed it up. It's 155. And then I went back and checked. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was, I mean, maybe it was a little cheesy, but I thought it was kind of cool. The money bar at the end. I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, did y'all think that was gimmicky?
I thought it was. Yeah, I was
thought it
like,
was stupid?
why did you do that? But
Oh, that's
no,
kinda
it's
cool.
I mean, it's fine. They do that in other sports too. Like they do the 3-point shooting contest. Like the last section has like the different colored balls.
Yeah,
like baseball,
yeah,
the home run
yeah.
derby. They do that. So it's like I mean,
Yeah.
They do that in sports. So.
I mean, but they've done it at the games before though. But it's just been a red barbell. Like the last bar is just a red barbell.
Who won that one?
Oh, well, we could have sat here and scratched our heads for hours wondering who would win on the male side. No, Jeff Adler. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he was going to win that one. I do think that Roman put up a better race than I thought he would have. Jeff finished in 3:12. Roman finished in
That's ridiculous,
3:27. Yeah, that's almost 10 clean jerks a minute for 3 minutes at 2:25. Like that's dumb. Like absolutely crazy. But anyway, but then Roman comes in second with if his body weight is what we think it is, it's not that big of a surprise. The guy's really strong and really big. Chandler Smith, was putting on a show this weekend and decided to cap it off with another really great performance. He had been performing well all weekend, only had a couple of hiccups throughout the competition. Really redeemed himself, so to speak, from the Granite Games in my eyes.
Medicine's a hell of a thing, huh?
Yeah, medicine's a hell of a thing. And it helps, especially if you can't breathe during CrossFit competition. You need to breathe. But yeah, and we do need to scroll. We do need to scroll down the leaderboard to 10th place. We have to address it. We have to address it. So when I made my predictions for this competition, I had Medeiros winning, Roman coming in second, and Vellner coming in third. And with 5 reps to go, I'm watching the competition and I think to myself, the 25 reps in, I think to myself, man, how about that? Vellner is actually going to win the whole thing. He's going to win this whole competition. Now, he made an Instagram post about it later, but for those of you that don't know, didn't watch the event, don't know what we're talking about, Vellner was he was 5 points behind Medeiros, but he needed 10 because Medeiros had the tie break, because Medeiros had more event wins. So when they had 25 reps in, 5 reps to go, Vellner was in first place and Medeiros was in fourth, meaning that he had BKG and Chandler Smith in between the two of them, which would have been enough points for him to win. Vellner gets 2 no reps. He fails 2 reps, I should say, out of the next 5. And he loses $188,000 in about a minute 20, about a minute and a half. He loses $188,000. But even from the beginning of that workout, I was watching Vellner go, knowing that Vellner is very strong, but not known for his strength, especially in comparison to this field. And watching his cycle rate of that bar, I thought to myself, he's really going for it.
No, yeah, he went for it.
He sent it.
Yeah.
And
Full send, which is how you failed Jared to 225.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say he knew it probably wasn't gonna work, but he hoped he might be able to.
Because he's always been on the podium, right? He's
He's never not podiumed at Rogue.
Yeah.
So he won Rogue 2 years ago. He got second place last year, and he was in second place, only 5 points back from first place going into the final event this year.
Can't fault him.
You can't fault the guy.
It sucks. It sucks really bad.
It really sucks. It really sucks. But I think that in order to beat the champ, I think when Frazier was at the top, no one really was close enough to be able to take chances like that. Because going into the last event, Frazier would always be up by like 100 points. He basically didn't have to do the last event. Except for when in 2019, the year of the cuts, that honestly is the dumbest thing CrossFit Games has ever done. Thanks, Greg Glassman. Besides that, just because of the cuts, that Frazier wasn't that far in front. But this is an example of Medeiros is the champ, and he has won every competition since the MAC 2 years ago. He has won every competition, but he's not as dominant as Frazier is. There's just you can't argue that. He's just not. And so when guys like Vellner, who are at the absolute pinnacle of the sport, the elite of the elites, he has a chance. He has a chance here to take down the champ, and he took his shot. So I can't fault him at all. Can't blame him. It really sucks, especially because I'm a Vellner fan. I really like the guy, but I just had to bring that up. Because it was important to the overall competition and the finishes. But moving on to the women, Cara Saunders, she's a tank of a woman. She's no surprise. that she won this one. I mean, not the same event because there weren't jerks involved and they were squats, but Cara handily won the squat clean pyramid back in the 2016 games. So we know that like heavyweight for high or heavyweight for like kind of like medium amount of reps is good for her. So wasn't that shocked to see her kill this one, and she did. And then the youngster Olivia Kerstetter, who got in through the qualifier, only 16 years old, comes in second place in this event. Awesome for her. Excited to see what she can do in the sport later on. She's got a super bright future ahead of her in this sport. And then Laura Horvath, man, third place. She really started slipping. But she's just so strong. No surprise there at all. And then, like we've been saying, Ellie Turner and Danny Spiegel, also both of them just tanks. No surprise to see them coming in fourth and fifth in this workout. So we've gone over all the events. That was the last event. Just thought before we wrap things up, I thought that maybe for just a couple minutes, we talk about maybe some people that finished on the leaderboard in a little bit of a surprising place. We mentioned it, Justin mentioned it a second ago. One of those names is Saxon Panchik. Saxon came in 11th at the CrossFit Games, but came in 16th here. So doesn't make any sense. Actually, me and Justin were texting about it before he made the announcement that he tested positive for COVID. And we were just like, this makes no sense. Like we literally just a month ago or so saw how fit the guy is. I'm not glad that he's sick, but I'm kind of glad he was sick because that would have been really bad if he had just been perfectly healthy and nothing was wrong.
Yeah, I just thought he was injured. We're saying just having COVID, but like COVID, I think is better than being injured.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
As long as he recovers.
But through my predictions and like what I predicted versus what the outcome was, Chandler Smith was the biggest surprise for me. My question to you two is, has he redeemed himself from the Granite Games? Is he back? Is Chandler Smith back? Is 2023 his year?
I mean, I'm not going to say it's his year, but I'm not even going to say he redeemed himself necessarily. It's like, when you like actually have like an illness that caused you, because like, I mean, same thing with Sam Kwan. It's like, we were like, when it happened, we're like, oh, what's wrong with them? And then it comes out that there's something like they have a sickness, and then they fix the sickness, and then they just go back to how they were.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I think if you look historically at the data, it's like if somebody had multiple bad performances, then that's just where they've showed decline over time. But when it's like, no, they're really good, they were really bad, and now they're really good again, like you can chalk that up to just whatever the circumstances might be.
And arguably last year he was looking the fittest that he ever had.
Right.
Leading up into the Granite Games, and then it obviously didn't work out.
And to your point, Sam Quat, second place at the 2020 Games. I think he got like 17th at the semifinals. Turns out he was sick. Like he had like an ailment. Like he had to
for like a really long time.
Like a really long
like,
time.
Yeah.
And then the next year in 2022 comes back to the Games, gets fourth. So he literally didn't skip a step. So hopefully Chandler is figured out all that medical stuff and is here to stay.
Only other difference on the leaderboard, the biggest thing for me was obviously
Mr. Ricky G.
Yeah, Ricky G. But I guess for me, I think it's more of a programming thing because he seems to do really good in like the athletic. Yeah, he does really good in like the more athletic endeavors and also very high like cardio. Like that's just like that's what he does. That's what he's good at. And the games, generally speaking, is higher on that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So we'll see. I mean, if he just like randomly like got unfit, like, or maybe he just hasn't worked out. But for me, it's probably the programming didn't line up for him in this scenario.
And he's less he's not as strong.
Right. Which that's for me the program. Like,
Yeah. Preston, about Gerard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about in the same camp as he is. Is programming it is what it is. It just didn't work out in his favor.
Yeah. I mean,
not that the program was bad. It's just like
No,
not
I mean,
good for him.
not good
Yeah.
for him.
I think he capitalized where he should have.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
he had bad events where like he would have said like, yeah, this isn't going to be great for me.
Yeah. It's just very surprising to me to have a guy get a bronze medal at the games and then go into Rogue and then finish 10th.
What were his worst finishes on what events? The back attack.
Yes, he did not do
mean,
well
so
at
yeah,
back attack.
I don't fault him there.
He fell apart on the dumbbell snatch.
He's not good at handstand
push
push-ups.
up.
He did bad at that on that workout at the games. Like,
Yeah.
he's not good at handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
For that level of athlete.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Back attack, he didn't do well. Yeah. And then on I guess that was on the turtle, the sprint ship.
I'm pretty sure he dropped the bag.
He dropped the
Pretty
bag.
sure. I would have to watch it.
Yeah,
But I'm
they
pretty
do
sure he dropped the bag.
So
Yeah.
there's nothing there that's like, oh, he's lost
Yeah.
his fitness that he had 2.5 months ago.
Number 1 and number 2 on the women's side are, as I predicted, Laura Horvath comes in first. Annie Thorsdottir comes in second. Again, Emma Lawson on the podium. This kid's impressive. She's 17 years old, and she's right up there. I mean, and that's consistent. Finishing 6th at the games, but 3rd at Rogue, that's consistency.
Well, if you look at her finishes too, she's just very consistent.
She's
She
got
doesn't
it.
seem to have like a glaring weakness.
No, and she's got it between the ears too. She's able to adapt, and if things are going wrong, she doesn't panic. She's calm under chaos. She's got a lot of good things going for her. Ellie Turner, though, her and Ellie Turner and Emma Lawson tied in points, but Emma obviously had 2 event wins, and Ellie didn't have any. So that's the tie break there, but really, really good for Ellie. And then Gabby Magala comes in 5th. But just like on the men's side, on the women's side, I'm curious as to what y'all think. Danielle Brandon, she comes in 4th at the games, but only 9th place here at Rogue. Thoughts? Is she suffering from the same thing that Gerard was suffering from? Is the programming wasn't good for her? Or were you surprised that she didn't do that well? Because she did struggle with strength at the games this year, but that had to do with an injury.
Which, if you're mentioning the injury, then obviously that correlates to her 19th finish on the squat, because she said that she hasn't squatted more than 250 in like a year.
Yeah.
And they had to do 275.
Yeah.
But the other workouts that she didn't do well, what is it? So she did poorly on the lift. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's the log.
So again, like you said, right in line. And then the last 3 workouts were not great either. So I don't know. I'm really not clear. To me, it's like she just is a good like mover. So I'm not good. I'm not sure what she's like really, really good at or really, really bad at. So I would say either she took a lot of time off, or she just like this programming didn't suit her strengths. I'm just not familiar with what her strengths are.
Yeah.
Other than she's just a good mover.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just a little odd. But as far as like my rankings, what I had them predicted and what they actually finished, Ellie Turner actually surprised me the most, because I think she came in 18th at the games and she comes in 4th place here. But like we said at the top of the episode, the women's field isn't as stacked as the men's field here, but still really good, like really, really, really good. But comes in 4th here, but 18th at the games. That's some drastic improvement over just like a little over a month. What are you doing, Adam Knifer? What are you doing?
Or the programming just suited her really well.
Yeah, it's true. She's strong. She's very, very strong.
But anyway, I'm sure she's gotten better training with Madeiras.
For sure. All right. Any last thoughts?
Annie Thorsdottir, most impressive athlete of the weekend.
You thought so?
100%. She's been in sport for 14 years.
Oh, so you're talking about longevity.
Yeah, I'm saying
She's still very good.
She's a team athlete. She doesn't have to do well here.
I had her coming in second, and she came in second.
Still very fit.
She didn't surprise
It's
me at all.
insanity. It's insanity.
It is.
Very
Well,
impressive.
I agree with the insanity. It is, but she's very impressive.
We're approaching 15 years of doing this. It's crazy.
She
They
is.
mentioned that a
yeah.
lot too.
And shows no, like there's no signs of stopping. Like she's already had a baby.
Yeah, that didn't slow her down at
Bounced
all.
back from that.
She
Very
podiumed
impressive.
at the games after that.
She's a savage for sure.
Well, because I think too, it's a level. It's just a level of her competitive nature. Because like the other girls, like they need this. They are individual athletes, and they need to do really well here to show everybody that they're really good. And like she doesn't necessarily have to do that.
She's a
but
two-time champ.
She's just really good.
She's in her 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is, and she is still like right in there, like
Yeah.
you know. And I hope that she goes individual next year. I think she will. I don't know if she's made that
Yeah, I
announcement.
haven't seen if she has or not.
But I hope she will, and if she does, I'm gonna probably. If she does, I'm gonna have her in the top 5 at the games. It depends on.
Oh, she's going individual next year, so that team's done.
It made it seem like to me that most people were saying she's going individual, but I don't.
She had a bad experience. She did not have fun.
I think Khan has said that
He's
he's,
also- yeah,
going to
he
go
said he's gonna-
individual, but I think that
He made that announcement before the season.
he made that announcement. Yeah, he's just doing. He was the same as Sam on Mayhem. He's like, I'm gonna do one and done, and then go back to individual. But I think that Khan is actually going to stay in Iceland because he's had so much fun training with them up there. So,
Well experience.
well, you know, if Lauren Fisher doesn't have an injury, we don't know what would have happened. So they podium.
We're not going to get into all that. They could have made a change and then probably podium.
They probably. I mean, if she wasn't injured, they would have been on the podium. But
Well, I just meant they could have used Katrin.
that's
and still podium.
easy.
That's what I'm saying. That's a different story. Though.
Yeah, different story. But anyway,
Come
All
see,
right.
come saw.
yeah. But anyway, so that was the Rogue Invitational recap. A little bit of a longer episode, but we hope you enjoyed every minute of it. But any last thoughts from you guys before we wrap things up?
Oh, let's go to the questions in the comments real quick.
I don't think there were any questions.
Can't wait.
Oh, okay.
Christina said she tried and couldn't. comment.
There weren't any comments. So.
Yeah, Christina said she couldn't. It wouldn't let her. She really tried.
There were a few comments, but anyway, we appreciate you guys watching. But anyway, as always, thank you for listening and thank you for being in the Paincave.
Peace. Yeah, Christina messaged me and was like, "Hey, why won't it let me?"
What? I commented.
Yeah, so I don't know.